They've won Tonys and Oscars and Emmys and Grammys. There's no red carpet because they're home in their jammies. From Melrose Place to Broadway to Janeway and her crew, let Seth and James bring all the stars to you.
Anywho,
they're entertaining everyone, so who's gonna grouse? Just sit right back and you'll hear some tales on Stars in the House.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Stars in the House. I am not here with Seth Rudetsky, but Seth, I'm going to show you who is here. I got to see your reaction. I just took this picture. And she's literally, I don't know if you can hear her, Seth. She's whining right now. This is the first time that we have done the show where I'm here and you're not here. Here you go, Seth. And
I heard her crying.
You heard her cry?
It's my angel.
I think she's like there, not under the table, because she's waiting for you to like come in, because Shirley would not do Stars in the House, James, without Seth right next to you.
And that goes, by the way, that goes for game night. Oh man. Hey, listen, before we start the show, I love our social media, but I just gotta make a comment.
Okay.
The promo for the Cher Show, it's a photo of Teal in pain, Micaela in pain, and the one person who's here is barely to be seen.
You know what? I
Yeah,
that may be a different one, but yes, Jen had made one, and then I said put Stephanie on there. I think she wanted to highlight because Teal sang. I don't know.
But why is
everyone's doing the best they can? It's a pandemic, Seth.
Jen, why is everyone in pain? Sounds. Oh wait,
she's not here. She's not here. Wait a minute. You still have your suitcase there?
No, because I just put pants on. Hold on.
Yeah. You know what, Seth? I don't need to see that.
I'm in Provincetown, everybody. I'm doing a show with Judy Kuhn. And speaking of Judy, I'm seeing Judy Gold tonight. So James, so are we? What's the order? You be in charge of who we're showing pictures of.
Sure. We are here for the Actors Fund. And it turns out that there was one particular person. I thought it was going to be a quiet Saturday. There was one particular person, happens to be a worldwide superstar, and she didn't quite know what the Actors Fund was or is. Seth, this is what happened. So
yeah, James, bravo to James.
So I was on. I noticed the tweet that Jen had posted, and I thought, oh well, you know what, Stephanie, it'd be so great if we get these donations, because the donations were amazing last time for the Cher Show. And I thought, okay, well, Stephanie can read them. So, and I thought, okay, I thought it was my Twitter account, but it turned out it was yours. And I thought, oh, whatever, you've got a lot more followers than I do. And so I started writing it. And if you make your donation before 8 p.m. tonight, because David is off, at starsinthehouse.com, as you can see, and forward your receipt to donations at starsinthehouse.com, we will ask Stephanie J. Block to read them. And normally, in your voice, it would be to read them in character. But I thought, you know what? Just why not? And then I did like to read them as Cher. And I thought, I'm going to tag her. Doesn't hurt to read them as that, So did that. Literally minutes later, I don't know this charity. Explain. Literally.
Well, I don't know this charity. Explain. Okay.
This made me so happy seeing this that I could not, it's been a hard week, I think, for a lot of us because of the Delta variant and all of the uncertainties and everything, and people, the breakthrough cases, all and on and on. To see that from Cher was just like, okay, you know what? It's all going to be okay. And interestingly, the Stephanie J. Block, tie-in of two of the most amazing that I've loved since I was a kid, mega stars, great humanitarians, Cher and Dolly Parton. And it was because of Stephanie J. Block, when she was in 9 to 5, that we got to meet Dolly Parton and have this picture taken. Seth did not remember that. He literally thought Paul Castry, who many of you who watch Stars in the House know, he was in 9 to 5 with Stephanie and Allison Janney and Megan Hilty and Andy Carl and all the other great people in it. And he thought that it was Paul who brought Dolly in. And I said, no, it was Stephanie. because my mom was she was in her treatment for her ovarian cancer. Stephanie J. Block, I'm going to bring you on because Stephanie's nodding.
Oh, that's so nice. I do remember.
And-
Hi, Seth.
Hi, Steph. I remember you in the show belting "Get Out, Stay Out," but I don't remember you meeting us, Dolly. Wait, so what happened, James?
So mom was in treatment, and it was a really hard time. And of course, her father, my grandfather, died of cancer, and Dolly Parton was the woman that he loved the most, and really introduced me to Dolly was him. And so seeing the show and knowing that Dolly was there, because it was, I don't know if the show had opened yet. It was early.
Previews. Yeah.
It was previews. And so I just like went to Stephanie, I think, right? And I just spilled my whole heart out, and Stephanie grabbed my hand, and because someone had said that Dolly had already left, and Stephanie's like, no, we're gonna take care of this.
Yep. And how gracious was she, right?
Come on.
I know.
Stunning looking.
Yeah, she's incredible.
And by the way, people don't know that is in where is it? Where'd it go? In the actual. Where's the photo? Oh, there it is. So that's Paul Castry. That's little Julie in front of Dolly, and that's Judy Gold's son, who I'm seeing Judy Gold tonight. How weird. That's Henry standing in front of me.
That's so weird. Oh my gosh.
Isn't that odd? The connection?
Yep.
And then, of course, when we saw you in the Cher Show, also in previews.
During previews.
You know what? And we went backstage and saw you and saw Seb, and it was like, you're going to win the Tony Award for this because you were so amazing. And Seth, I just looked at this picture. If you look at this picture closely, Seth's got tears in his eyes.
I know. That was the first and only time I think I've ever seen you misty like that.
Oh, yeah. He always cries when it's an amazing performance and it's amazing artistry.
But will he come backstage and expose that?
Well, that's true. That's true.
That's right.
Yeah, I was really happy for you. And we were so psychic. I mean, we both knew. Me and James were like, she's winning a Tony Award.
Well,
and I did.
And I did. And believe it or not, that we're now 2.5 years out from that, or a little over 2 years. Isn't that wild?
It is wild.
I know.
Everything's wild. At the time, Vivian was how old when the shutdown began?
When the shutdown began, she had just turned 5. So she turned 5 in late January of 2020. Okay. So, yep.
Now
here we are.
She's 6
and a half. Yep.
Holy cannoli.
I know. It's like nothing and everything has happened in this great pause. It's really crazy.
Yeah.
Wait, forget. I got to promote. I'm in Provincetown doing a show with Judy Kuhn, but Stephanie and I are going to be in Provincetown together doing a show at Town Hall, I think. Right? We're at Town Hall.
I'm coming. Yeah. Sunday, August the 22nd. We'll do Town Hall together.
And is Seb making a guest appearance? Have we discussed that?
Seb's coming, but you haven't asked if he's going to sing a duet or do anything. Do we need to start warming up?
Are you going to text him right now?
So ridiculous.
All right. So we're here for the actors, and this is an encore. David edited the that reunion was over a year ago.
Yes.
It was a year ago. But we're going to show that in a little bit. But Stephanie, Dr. LaPook is here, the chief medical correspondent for CBS News. Those of you, perhaps Cher is watching, of CBS News. And Dr. LaPook has been with us since day one. He's a dear friend. And my God, we were calculating the other day. I think we've done 300 shows just with Jon.
Wow.
And
what a resource. Really, what a resource to have.
Absolutely. And so I said, I texted Stephanie and I said, do you have any questions for Dr. LaPook? And she was like, yes, I do. So please welcome to Stars in the House, Dr. Jon LaPook.
Hi, guys.
Hello, Dr. Jon LaPook. How are you?
Hello, Stephanie J. Block. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm a little anxious, though, because my family and I are just about to travel for a very important family event, a celebration of a birth and a memorial of a death. So we're going as a little unit. But I read last night that there is a new variant that's made its way through Colombia and the southern tip of Florida, and it's called B1216. Yes, there it is. What is that? How is it different? Do we even know what that is? Tell me.
Yeah, so it is I've been researching it because James gave me a little heads up about that. So I actually texted my friend at the CDC, and then I emailed them. They're looking. they're researching and getting back to me. But what I can tell is that I don't think it's a variant of interest or concern yet. In Florida, it's about, I'm just reading on the Washington Post site, it's 10% of the cases. So that's,
that's significant, isn't it?
That's significant. But in the United States, it said the variant has yet to be named a variant of interest or concern, accounting for just more than 2.1% of cases as of July 17th. And that's per John Selleck, a professor at the Jacobs School of Medicine and Biomedical Sciences at the University of Buffalo. So, this, what's going to happen? Oh, here it is. See, this is, I got to the web 6th one. Variant of interest. I don't think it's a variant of interest yet.
Okay. So same protocol, just wear the mask, keep as much distance as you can, wash those hands like crazy, and be smart.
How much Delta's in Florida?
A lot. The numbers are not great.
It's unlabeled. It says USA 0.7% on the website now. If you go to covid.cdc.gov/COVID-data-tracker / numbers.
That's like a swing. That's like a swing. They play Delta, they play slash, they play backslash, they play health.
/ variant - proportions. Anybody who can follow that, I don't know. Just go to COVID data tracker or just Google CDC variant of concern, and you get to this page. They list them all actually, and the proportion of them.
Okay.
Delta is 8.2%. But the bottom line is that what's happening is because in the especially in the South and in the Midwest, there are so many people who are unvaccinated, Stephanie. Every time the virus goes into an unvaccinated person, it multiplies. And it multiplies billions of times. And even if the risk of mutating into a more powerful form is 1 in a billion, if it's multiplying a billion times, well, the math eventually hits for it. What does it mean to be more virulent? It means either it's more deadly. So Delta looks like it's not just that it's more transmissible, it's more infectious, but if you get it, it seems like there's a higher chance you're going to get sick. So there's a chance that it could be mutated to being more deadly, more contagious, more infectious, or better able to evade the immune system. So right now we have this uncertainty. People, it's mutating all the time. We're looking at these variants. And what we don't want to have happen, and which is why we're saying over and over again for people to get vaccinated, is the way to shut that down is to get vaccinated. So there's no petri dish, there's no human petri dish for it to multiply in. Otherwise, we're gonna all be learning the Greek alphabet. I mean, we're going to go all the way up to Omega and beyond. So there was some good news today with the Delta variant. A paper, this is hot off the presses. It literally was posted today from Singapore, showing that we talked about yesterday, I guess, that this latest data from Provincetown, from the outbreak up there where people had the breakthrough infections, was that when on the first day of measuring the virus in the nose, it looked like people who were vaccinated, who had breakthrough infections, had the same amount of, they had the same amount of virus as people who are unvaccinated and got infected. So that made you think, well, they're going to continue to be, they'll be just as infectious. But today, somebody followed, in Singapore, they followed it out over, 1 or 2 weeks. And what happens is that the people who are vaccinated clear the virus from their nose faster.
Oh.
Okay.
So the implication for that is that it suggests that you'll be infectious for a shorter period of time, which is, I love that piece of news because people are saying, well, what's the use of getting, vaccinated? The other thing that's wrong with the what's the use of getting vaccinated is, yes, even if in one person who's vaccinated who gets infected, a breakthrough, and another person who's unvaccinated, even if they're the same infectiousness for a couple of days, the vast majority of infection out there is from people who are unvaccinated, because by the numbers, so many more people are unvaccinated. Of the people who are spreading the infection are people who are unvaccinated, just statistically, because you're 8 times less likely to get symptomatic illness. That's symptomatic illness if you're vaccinated than if you're unvaccinated. So people are getting confused. I see on the internet they're saying, how can you say, what's the point? No. These breakthrough infections prove that the vaccines work in the hundreds, more than 400 breakthrough infections of people who were vaccinated in Provincetown, there were 5 people who were hospitalized. 1 was unvaccinated, 4 were vaccinated. I think 1 needed monoclonal antibodies. Nobody died.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody else had relatively mild illness. And that's what's going on around the world. I'm looking at all the data. So yes, you can have breakthrough infections, but it's to be expected. And if you look at the numbers, it's 35,000 breakthrough infections a week now. So you say that's a lot, but there's 164 million people vaccinated.
Yeah.
So
Would you still suggest the D3 and the zinc and all that, just continue that to?
No, there's never been. I'm telling for people who are doing that. It's innocent enough. I think. I don't think there's a downside. I've looked for that. I've not seen anything that supports that. That's really an effective way to prevent it. But you know what? We're learning new things all the time. This isn't
it's not going to hurt.
Right. Fair enough.
Profession, and this is an eternally humbling pandemic. So if you want to do that, there is some, petri dish stuff about zinc stopping replication, but I don't see that as the main way that you're going to stop getting infected. The main way is you get vaccinated,
right?
And then, for me, you're going on this trip to Florida now. Yes. How many people? Can we get a little granular on it? So,
sure.
Are you going to be indoors?
You're going to hate all of this information, other than the fact that we are outdoors. But we have people coming in from London. We have people coming in from Uruguay. We have people coming in like us from the East Coast, the West Coast. A lot of children under the age of 12, including my daughter. So all of us will be on some sort of a plane, excluding, I think, 4 family members. It will be a total of probably 15, 16 of us. It will be on a beachside sort of, it's not really a resort, but little individual condos on a beach. So we'll be outside a lot, dining outside, spending the majority of the day outside, not sleeping together except for our individual families in our little rooms. But yeah, I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 children under the age of 12 that have not been vaccinated.
So let's break that down. First of all, of course, the advice is going to be you're frozen. By the way.
Oh, I am?
Now you're doing a little better. But first, the advice is going to be, if you don't have to travel, don't travel, because there's all sorts of risks here. So that's the basic advice. Now you're saying you're going. Okay, so if you're going, what's the safest, how can you be the safest? I'm not as worried about the plane ride. Mm-hmm. You're going to be masked, and the planes have pretty good air circulation. They have filtration, right. All that. I'm worried about the waiting to on the ramp to get there when you're right next to somebody. Make sure you have the mask on. I'm worried if they turn off the air conditioning or the ventilation system when you land. That sometimes happens, okay? But I'm more concerned about the fact that you're FedExing the virus. You're flying in the potential virus from all over the place, right?
Right.
So you have to assume that people are coming in and they are infected. I think that's the safest thing to do. Assume they are infected.
Right.
Okay, now if they're infected, what's the best way not to catch it from them? So are all the adults over 12 vaccinated?
I believe so, yeah.
So that's good. And how many kids under 12 are there?
There's 4 or 5 that will be there.
4 or 5. And will they now, so outdoors, if you're close together?
We'll be masked.
You have to be masked. Because we saw from the Houston, you heard about that Houston wedding? 2 people flew in. This isn't to scare you. This is to inform you.
No, real truth is truth. Real is real.
Yeah, right. The truth is truth. So 2 people who had been vaccinated, nevertheless had COVID. They had breakthrough infections, and they were an outdoor wedding, and they infected, I think it was 5 other people, right. Who were also vaccinated. So we know that you can get infected outdoors. So,
but they weren't wearing masks.
They were not wearing masks outdoors.
Okay.
So when you're outdoors at this event and you're close to is everybody going to be wearing a mask?
Yes. I mean, I think we have to
not
demand that, but heavily suggest, or we go back to our room, right? I mean, that's the name of the game.
So I would suggest that you wear masks. I think that if you're in your pod and it's just your pod and you're on the beach and there's nobody within 10 feet of you, I think you're okay to take the mask off so you don't go crazy. That's okay. But I think I would consider each one of those individual pods as infected. And how am I going to prevent myself from getting infected with them? Now, one thing you can consider, and this may be, blasphemy, because for thousands of years, we've all eaten together. That's a way of doing socialization. But since there's no way that you can eat together and not have
a mask
on, you could consider, and I've recommended this and I'm doing this myself, just separating socialization from eating. Eat with your pod and then get together. If you eat as quickly as my family does, that's like 7 minutes out of the,
right.
We're eating. So I would say separate, if you can separate, or if you're on the beach and you have different tables that are, 10 feet away from each other, you could be without a mask. And, there's infinite dilution with outdoor ventilation. What I worry about is the outdoors where you're shoulder to shoulder, or you're unlucky and the little wind comes across and you're too close.
Right.
So I think you can do it safely. You just have to, in your mind's eye, I would just think each one of those other pods is infected.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's the best, safest way to do it. And they may be incubating it. They may be asymptomatic. Are they going to do any testing?
That's a good question. We have, but it's, you can't make anybody do anything. That is one thing that I am learning, and all you can control is yourself and those that are nearest to you that love and respect and will say absolutely, but you can't force anybody to do anything. So Is it recommended? Of course. Will my little pod be? Yes. We traveled earlier, which we will speak to, but to Rwanda, we were tested every 2 days. I mean, every 2 days we were getting tested. So we're big proponents of that. Of course, we're all vaccinated except for Vivi, but
you know what? I would say, Jon, you tell me what you think. Stephanie, your instincts, I know as a human being and as an actress, are like spot on amazing. I feel like sometimes you just have to go with your gut. And if it's an uncomfortable situation, especially over the last month, that's what Seth and I have done. And I would just be like, and I feel like I'm the outsider or the outcast. And I'm like, okay, this is it. We had this experience. We've had this experience a couple of times where it was social settings.
We went to Mykonos. We got into a car in Mykonos. We got into a taxi in Mykonos with these 2 women from Texas. And we said, can you guys put on your mask? And they're like, y'all, we're vaccinated. And we're like, we're also vaccinated, but it's spreading. We said, Montgomery County actually takes really bad. And she's like, I never even heard of Montgomery County. Never even heard of it. Like, okay. Anyway.
But I mean,
so you went.
We put it on, but they wouldn't.
They would, yesterday, New York City, cab. I always look in first. Do not open that door. I look and the guy's not wearing a mask. I said, could you please would you, sir? I said, sir, would you mind putting on a mask? He said, no.
Wow.
Bye-bye, next cab. But, bye-bye. Anyway, I think home testing is going to end up being more important than ever, especially if you've got a kid. These kits, they're $30 now or $50. They should be $3 or free. There's all this money that was allocated from the CDC to the states, the government CDC to the states, to support testing in schools. I really hope that gets spent.
Jon, let me ask you if because we're going to have some people over to our house, not a lot, but we got all those tests. We bought a lot of them at the drugstore, and we've already told our friends before you walk, even though we're going to mainly be outside, to do the rapid test. That's what we're doing. Yeah. Is it one of those things, Stephanie? I wonder. I'm just kind of thinking out loud on the live stream here.
And you get a home test, and you get a home test.
Well, are the people that you're closest to that you'd be like in your pod that's just for while you're there? You can't ask everyone, but there's maybe a couple of people that you're close to that you'd be hanging out with to say, hey, because you do have a daughter who can't get vaccinated. It's like,
right.
And even if it's not a PCR, the rapid tests aren't PCRs in general, then Michael Minna, who is a professor, he's a researcher up at Harvard, he makes the argument that it actually may be more practically useful because the PCRs can give you, if you were infected a month ago, they may still be positive because they're getting blown up pieces of nucleic acid that are sitting there not doing anything. Whereas the antigen tests are reflective probably of how infectious you are at that moment.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
if you take it in the morning, if you take it right before you're about to see people, that's pretty nice. If it's negative, nothing's perfect. There are false negatives, there are false positives, but
it's another layer of protection, as you like to say.
It's all
That's
layers
right.
of protection. But outdoors, much safer than indoors. We got to remember what the aerosol scientists, God bless them, have taught us starting about June of 2020. And I first interviewed Kim Prather from UC San Diego Scripps. She's an aerosol scientist, oceanographer, and she completely opened my eyes about this. And then other aerosol scientists, Lindsay Marr, Don Milton, and then Joe Allen, they're all screaming. Screaming is too loud, but they're all emphatically trying to teach us about ventilation. You get inside of a car with a driver who you don't know, that's a taxi cab driver. Open the windows. First thing I do, open the windows. And there was a study showing if the cross windows, you open them all if you can, but the front right and the back left, or the back right and the front left, that
diagonally
is really it's the most helpful actually. But you open as much as you can.
That's all great.
Let me say one more thing. I don't know about my Wi-Fi. Dr. LaPook, you're saying if you're vaccinated, you have less of a chance of getting Delta. And if you do get Delta, you'll be contagious for a shorter period of time than if you're not vaccinated. Those are the two things, right? For sure, you are 8-fold less likely to get symptomatic COVID if you are vaccinated with Delta, okay? You are 25 times less likely to be hospitalized. You are 25 times less likely to die. So the risk isn't real. I mean, yes, if you're infirmed, if you're immunocompromised, if you're older, some people have died, but you are super, protected. The vast majority of people who are really ill are people who are not vaccinated. This issue about infectious less long is literally today on one study that's not peer reviewed yet. So same amount of virus on day one, and then it seems to go down faster in people who are vaccinated. That's got to be replicated. I was on the phone. I was texting back and forth with Rochelle Walensky today, the head of the CDC, about this. I said, "Do you know about the study?" She says, "Oh yeah."
Great.
I'm all over this. I'm looking for other data. Then I spoke to some other people at the CDC. This is breaking news, and it'll be really interesting to see what implications that has. But on a Saturday, for everybody out there who's been so critical of the CDC, they are going 24/7 on this. And I know that there have been some missteps and miscommunications, but these people, it's what they do for a living. They're great scientists. And it's like we have the Olympics right now. It's like they've been working out, they've been training for the Olympics their whole lives. They've been training for a pandemic their whole lives. We're going to have them on the sidelines, and we're going to ourselves be doing all this reading, saying, well, I think that, yes, we should be skeptical. We should read, we should learn. But I see on the social media people saying, I can't believe things are changing every day. Well, yeah, like if there was an illustration where somebody said, if Dr. Fauci said it's 30 degrees today, wear a coat, and the person goes, oh, okay, that sounds reasonable. And then the next day he says it's 70 degrees out tonight, so today don't wear a coat. And then the person's reaction is, I'm so confused. Yesterday you said to wear a coat.
Right.
Don't wear. I mean, things are changing moment to moment.
Right.
A pandemic, a novel coronavirus that we've never seen before. So I think we have to have some, dare I say, empathy for the CDC and for the health professionals who are trying to do their best to communicate with us. And this is a tough thing to communicate. There's a lot of nuance. A lot of things are changing all the time. So there you go.
All right, John, thank you so much. And if you hear anything from the CDC about that variant, you'll let us know.
Hold on. Let's see if there's anything hot off the presses.
Okay.
No.
Okay. All right. You'll let us know. All right, Dr. LaPook. Thanks so much. Have a good weekend.
You too.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye. So for that encouraging, helpful, depressing, all the above.
It's it's all of the above. So you just have to start, like you said, listening to your gut, making choices that are right for your family, your little unit. And, sometimes you make those boundaries and people get upset, but man, we're all just trying to do the best we can.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah. It is layers of protection. And it's like on an airplane, there really is good circulation. It's not like it's not like the barriers have to be the same wherever you go. But sometimes double masking is right. If you're in a crowd, put on a double mask. But not everything has to be equal. And I think that's what it's all about.
Yeah,
Hi,
we're not embarrassed to
Mira.
wear the shields and the double mask. That we don't care about that stuff. We ain't too proud.
So Stephanie, I know that I said you'll be out at 8:20 and it's 8:30.
I heard that.
Do you have a few minutes? One to do some donations.
Yes, of course.
So Seth sent you some, and then I sent you an email just now because we got another donation.
An email or a text?
So I sent an email.
Okay, I'll read the text.
Where it says second batch.
Okay, I'm doing text and then email. Okay.
There you go.
And I wouldn't have known had I not read the text or the tweet that I'm supposed to do this in a Cher voice. See, this is how I get information. Okay. And we closed this 2 years ago. So
I know it's so unfair.
Dear Stephanie, 2 years ago, I saw you in the Cher Show, and I've never recovered. It was the best day ever. Julia Patterson from Vermont, $25. Number 2, thank you, Seth and James and the entire Stars in the House community for all that you do. And someone said in the live chat last night that what you're doing is God's work. Oh my God, it is. Jan from Illinois, $100. For the Actors Fund, which now that I know what it is, who is to know, right? It does such amazing work. And for the forever shining star, that is SJB, Marissa Godfrey from Connecticut, $50. Love to my old buddy Stephanie, and huge thanks to Seth and James, Jerry Sherrill. Oh my God.
Jerry?
Kids Incorporated, KID. Yeah, Kids Incorporated. He gave $100. This donation is in honor of Macaco's birthday. My little guy, he turned 14. Hold on, everybody. He's 14. From his doggy friends, Max and Daisy. Thanks for cheering us up. Rescue dogs rock.
Yes.
Nan Kane from South Carolina. That's $25. Okay, hold on, you guys. Okay, hold on. I'm checking my email. Usually I have an assistant that does this for me, but whatever. Okay, so I'm a West Coaster, but sometime when I get back to NYC and spend all my time in the dark, I miss all the magic that is Broadway. And someday, in the meantime, every chance I get, I send a few nickels. That's from Dawn from California, $10. Thank you, Dawn. I'm so happy to see this rerun of the reunion of the cast of the Cher Show. I love Cher and have seen her many times over the years, and I love seeing this Broadway show. My little chickadee. Stephanie J. Block totally does. I'm going to repeat this. Stephanie J. Block totally deserved her Best Actress Tony for this role. Thanks again from the Sith Core fam. For everything. Seth and James, everything that they do for the Actors Fund. This is Seattle, Susie Q, $20. And then Marcy Lipset. I know her. $100. Oh my God, Marcy, you're so generous. Sequins and kisses to all of you all. Thank you so much. How was that?
There's one more to read,
there
Stephanie.
Is?
Right on the screen.
There
you go.
So I don't know this charity. Explain. Kiss. Kissed. Which I do love. Her emojis, I don't know why they mean so much more coming from her than anyone else. And you can, even if it's emoji, you can hear the emoji in her voice. It's kind of remarkable.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was fun. And I thank you all so very much. That's very generous. And what we raised last time when we did this live was really impressive. And Cher's fans are no joke. So if you can keep going to the website and you can find an extra 5, 10, 25, my goodness, we're supposed to open again in, September, October. But anyway, the wind blows, just like the doc said, right? I mean, you just never know. It's 40 degrees one day and it's 72 degrees the next day.
And we're up to, I didn't say it at the beginning of the show, we are up to $1,052,190.
Holy crap. That's a lot of money.
You've been on the show a lot, Carl. Wow. A lot of that from you making appearances. Hey, James, what about the shout out to the nice donation you got last night about the...
Yes, I will. And then we're going to talk about Rwanda, and then we're going to finally let Stephanie J. Block go.
Okay.
This is, hold on, let me see, because I sent it to you, Seth. So
I emailed it back to you.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Very good. Oh, I am donating tonight in honor of Julia and Helene for lifting our spirits with the public chat salad bowl game. Thursday was a difficult day in Arizona for anyone who works with children. I think I know what that means. And their willingness to put in the time, Julia and Helene, to put in the time to make a fun game for everyone helped. Also, thank you to everyone who works tirelessly to make these shows happen and are able to laugh when things go wrong. And boy, did they yesterday. Anna from Arizona, $25. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So before we show it, Stephanie, okay, Rwanda. I can't even. You sent me these pictures. Should I show the pictures and you can talk about it? I mean,
yes, certainly. Look at that. Look at that earth. Okay, so a dear friend of mine, Mary Lee Fairbanks, who is also a dear friend of LaShawn's, hence you guys meeting up in Mykonos, but she approached me 7 years ago and said, I'd love you to come to Rwanda. Her husband is intimately connected with the country. He's been going there since the 70s. And in the last couple decades, he's been working alongside President Kagame with, economics and infrastructure and tourism and all this stuff.
This is Stephanie?
That is the president of Rwanda. That's Paul Kagame.
Wow.
And we got 3 hours with him. And he spoke to the integrity of his people. He spoke to the genocide in 1994 and moving forward, recognizing the individual of each person, but coming together and saying, no more division, no more. And what I don't know if everybody recognizes, and I don't want to be the black little rain cloud in this evening, but in 1994 there was a genocide that happened, and in 100 days over 1 million people were killed by machete. So imagine 100 days and 1 million people. And these atrocities they happened from people's friends and neighbors because of being indoctrinated with hate and division. And as he says, when there's scarcity, people act very badly. But they had to move forward as a country. They had to forgive. They had to live next to their neighbors, and they're doing that. And I can't explain to you how they have walked together hand in hand with all the hideous things and atrocities that happened to still be able to move forward as a country. And in doing that in forgiveness, in doing that and never forgetting what happened 27 years ago, they have a responsibility, as they say, to now make each other the heroes of their story.
Uh-oh. Did we lose Stephanie, Steph?
Well, really, I keep going out back.
You cut out a little bit, Stephanie, but only at the very end.
Okay. Well, I just feel like we have a lot to learn from
I was going to say, it's like they may need to be sending teams to this country.
That's right.
Very soon.
Because the division will never lead to anything good. So they not only recognize the humanity in humans, but they recognize that in their animals and the great conservation that they're doing there. We got to trek with the gorillas in the Virunga Mountains, where that's the only place on earth where they exist, in Rwanda, Uganda, and the Congo. And so we watched a family. They were called Akasha, I believe, which means special. And just to watch their family unit for an hour. And it's remarkable. These gorillas that go, and it goes right through you. And it's almost like you can see yourself, millions upon billions of years ago. There we are. I can't really describe or give it enough respect, but the privilege to be in that country, I recommend it for everyone. It is safe. It is beautiful. They have great COVID rules and results because of it. If President Kagame says wear a mask, you wear a mask, or else you're charged $50 which for them is about 2.5 months' wages if you're not wearing the mask. So, and it is a democracy. So anybody who's like, well, that's not it. No, yes, it is. They just decide, we are going to respect and love our fellow human as much as we love ourselves, that this is what we're willing to do. So it was remarkable. And Vivi had a cow named after her. I don't know if you can see that on the Jeep, but they renamed our safari Jeep Vivi after her. It was really, and that's Charles, and that's Mary Lee's husband, Michael Fairbanks, who has done great work there with the government and the different ministries there.
Okay, Stephanie, you sent us a video. Do you want to set it up before we play it? Or
Sure. So we had this incredible opportunity to visit a local village. There are microgrants that go out from Spark. The organization is called Spark. And this beautiful little village had used the microgrant to rear pigs. And it's going so well. And they're thriving as a village that when we came to visit and sort of represent Spark, they greeted us with song and dance, and then they lifted Vivi up out of her seat and invited us all to dance with them. So this is just 10 seconds of us really feeling so joyous and celebrating their pig rearing.
I love it.
And Vivi asked, she said, do you name your pig? She's really into what everybody's name is right now. And they said, no, dear one, we eat the pigs, but we name the cows. They don't want to name anything that they have to, use as actual currency or food. And there we are on safari. And she was great. I mean, look at how, can you see kind of like the peace and the calm in all of our faces? We're so relaxed. It was
absolutely.
It was extraordinary.
Oh, Stephanie.
Oh, thanks for letting me share.
Are you kidding?
Visit Rwanda. I cannot recommend it enough. Honestly, it's life-changing.
And James, did you show Stephanie what happened? The picture of us 2 minutes later.
Oh, we talked about it before the show. Yeah, there we go.
Yep. LaChance had gotten the invitation to go to some fancy birthday party. And she's like, well, instead of going home halfway around the world and then going back halfway around the world, here's my luggage. I'm going to Mykonos. So that's not a bad life. But again, I just want to let everybody know we had to have 2 tests before we went within 72 hours. It had to be between 48 and 72 hours to get to Amsterdam. Another test to get to Kigali, which is the capital. Another test before we met the president. Another test before we saw the gorillas. Another test before we went to the village. It was every other day, and it was worth every single, roundabout. So that's what you got to do.
Okay, so we're going to thank you, Stephanie. That was everything I hoped it would be. The story with it. I want to go.
Please do.
So we're gonna show the encore, and it actually begins with your curtain speech to the actors actors performance of the Cher Show.
They sure saved my buns years ago, so I'm grateful. I'll always show up because I'm just grateful.
You
all right, so
I'll see you in Provincetown.
Okay, we'll sing something, my honey. Okay, you guys, be well. Bye.
Bye. And Margie, you wanna hit it? Hold on, Margie. I'm going to bring you on. Hold on. So Margie is today's David.
I'm exactly like David, right?
So hold on. So David contacted Jonah, contacted Jason and Hudson, all of our usual tech guys, and no one was available. And I did not want to repeat of last night, and so I called in a panic Margie, and Margie was, of course, able to do it in a minute.
Yeah,
in a minute, anytime.
So Margie, hit it on the ladies. We thought we bring on the ladies, but from the stage.
If you guys don't know what the Actors Fund is, it's an extraordinary mission and organization that helps us. We as a family, the entertainment family, we celebrate with each other when we get married, when we have kids, when we get a new job. We also turn to each other when things don't go so right, when there are trials and troubles and, God forbid, crises. And we all seem to turn to the Actors Fund. And when I say we, it's not just actors, it's not just theatrical performers, television, film, musicians, ushers, stage management, technicians, it runs the gamut. And they help us with healthcare, mental health care, social services, financial services, and they do extraordinary work. I'm just gonna say a personal thank you. 20 years ago, I was about to be kicked out on the street because I couldn't pay my rent. I was waiting for a paycheck, it was substantial, and my account was going down, 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 and I kept paying. Finally, I called the Actors Fund. They tracked down that check, they got it into my account, they paid my rent for 2 months so I wouldn't go homeless, and it was extraordinary, and they were fantastic.
Yes!
Okay. Stephanie J. Block, I did not know that story, so we got to talk about that. That's really, really amazing.
That's right. Let's bring him on, Seth.
So first, let's bring on Teal Wicks, who's fixing her stunning look. Hi, Teal Wicks.
Hey, what's up? Hi.
It's all good. Then Stephanie J. Block, who looks like she's in a country kitchen.
Kind of.
And then finally, Micaela, who's right in the middle of recording her solo album.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
You are. Yes, you are. Just tell the people. Yes, you are.
It's all good. Teal, I would love a little bit more light on you. That's my only issue.
No, I forgot to bust out my glamour light. I'm just gonna get really close. We're just gonna be like,
yes. Oh my God.
Look at those eyes, people.
Teal has already done one bad accent, and we're only a minute into the show.
Let me go a little bit closer. Hold on. Let's see. Well, now that's the best we can do. But
so
you look great.
Micaela, what's the first song?
Oh, right off the bat.
We're doing a song already? By the way,
no, not at all. You literally look like, no, you just look like I'm a singer-songwriter, man. I'm like, I'm totally writing about my ex-boyfriend. Like, you caught me.
I don't really have any ex-boyfriends, you guys. By the way, it wasn't a Hawaiian style. It was definitely, you were saying it like a Jewish style.
Oh.
Wait, is that why I keep thinking Micaela? Okay, so wait, it's Micaela.
It's Micaela. Yeah, Stephanie knows it.
you got it right.
I agree.
Micaela, Stephanie, and it's Teal Wicks. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. James.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna start right here because we saw the show. This was backstage. I think you were in. I don't know if it was critics' time. It was right before you opened, and that is how much we loved the show. It was.
Yeah, we literally had tears in our eyes.
We had tears in our eyes. We were, of course, happy for Stephanie because we told her, it's like, you're going to win the Tony Award. It's like, how could you not? Because her performance was brilliant, and so were the two of you. I hadn't met you before into backstage, and we said hi, and it was like, oh my gosh, I was kind of speechless.
Yeah, who chose those keys, girls? Everything was a high F. I was like, what is happening? I was loving it. Keep going, sorry.
No, so I told Seth, because he has so many questions, but I said, let me be the fan who doesn't know anything about the show, and I'm gonna just ask, how did you get involved, and then what the hell was your first thought when you were when someone said you're gonna play Cher? Stephanie, go.
I got involved randomly by the wonderful book writer Rick Ellis. I was finishing up Falsettos. They were starting to do a reading. It wasn't gelling with my life, with my schedule, and so I had to pass on that reading. I knew it was moving forward. They graciously invited me back again. I was really very nervous because I'll be honest, like playing Liza was very nerve-wracking, and I still felt the effects, and I had thought, okay, I've done that process. I know what it looks like to kind of play that character. So maybe this isn't my role, my time, whatever. But then Jason Moore, the director, said, can I take you to dinner? I want to tell you about this sort of device that we're using with three women and sort of the spiritual aspect of it with the three women, not just playing literal and being young, medium, and old and passing the torch down to tell the story, but to share the stage together. And that's really what clenched it for me, just that whole idea of not having to just step right into another living being's shoes and carry that all as a literal imitation or, an impersonator type sense, that there was this really artistic understanding and this arc of these three women that what we called Cherapy, we would talk to each other, and Micaela would talk to the older Cher, and I would talk to Teal as middle Cher and say, aren't we learning these lessons? Or don't you remember why you started? Or it was a really wonderful way of going back about telling this story. So I finally said yes. We decided to do the 2 weeks. And at the end of that, it was for Cher herself. And that's when we needed to get the blessing. So 42nd Street Studios, fluorescent light with Cher sitting 5 feet away. And that's what we needed to then move forward. And then it was Chicago, and then more rehearsals and Broadway.
Wait a minute. So was there pressure of like, Cher doesn't like it, then that's it? We're not going to
I don't know if it's not it. I can't speak. I think that was an understanding with the producers, what that sort of understanding was. I can't speak to that. But I certainly know there was a big pressure because she was just so close. And she was there with her entourage of 15 dear ones that supported her, and these aviator sunglasses that protected her, and this big like velvet sombrero fedora thing that protected her. Remember, Mick?
Oh yeah.
So in other words, it was easy to spot her in the
there was no incognito happening, but there was hand holding, and there were tears coming from those aviator sunglasses, and there were plenty of notes, like lots to be changed. But I think the overall feeling was she walked away saying this was worth her blessing and her involvement and her investment.
Micaela and Teal, were you there at the very beginning, the one that Stephanie wasn't able to do?
No, none of us were. But I did the lab, so that one that ended in fluorescent lights with sombrero. And I kind of did have like the opposite reaction as Steph, just because like I had nothing to lose. Like I was kind of plucked out of nowhere, which was the luckiest thing that ever happened to me. But I also was like, no one knows who the F I am. So like, I'm just kind of here hoping to do my best,
Well, by the way, if people don't know, Micaela is one of those people who looks young. You just turned 40, right? But you've got that youthful. Yeah, she literally was in high school. Am I right? You were like in high school when you auditioned?
Yes. I had just graduated.
That's amazing. So you were on your way to Carnegie Mellon. You're like, oh, just for funsies, I'm going to try out for the show to see what it's like to drop a Broadway show. It's hilarious.
Brilliant.
Okay, so wait, so you didn't feel the pressure because you were just like, whatever, this is amazing.
Well, I think like, I don't know what you felt, Steph, when you did Liza, but like, I'm sure there was like a excitement and a like balls out kind of, sorry, I don't know if that's the term, but like that kind of just like all out, all in deal. And like, hopefully this is good for you because I'm having fun, And so that's kind of what I did. Yeah.
Teal, how did you? So were you weren't at those? So when did you get involved?
I joined basically right before Chicago. I was never. I'd heard that the show was happening, but it never really crossed my, my emails or anything like that up until before Chicago, and it just kind of popped up, and they're like, "We're looking for the lady," and it's just one of those funny things because I had heard about the show and never did I have a thought of like, ooh, I need to get after that. Like that's my jam.
Yeah.
I liked Cher. I have mad respect for Cher. I've always enjoyed her. I really liked her movies. So I was like, sweet. It never really I never thought that was going to be the show that I like sunk my teeth into. And then when the audition came up, they were, looking for a new lady, and it's when I got the material, I started singing the songs, and I was like, oh my god, oh wow, these actually like sit really well in my voice, and the script was really great. It was fun, but it was also really grounded, and I don't know, there's just a lot of things that clicked, and somehow it was one of actually my favorite audition experiences, which auditions suck.
They're horrific.
Yeah.
Well, by the way, Teal, since you're talking, I just sent you, because we're doubling donations. They're coming in really quickly.
When someone just asked,
good.
Your phone.
Yeah, Teal, check your phone.
Saying, what's the donation email? So again, it's just, you go to starsinthehouse.com.
It's right there. It's streaming on the bottom.
It's right there at the bottom. Or you can text Fund 2020 to 56512.
And then you forward your receipts, which you're going to get right away, to donations at starsinthehouse.com. And then someone like Teal will be reading them. Teal, what have we gotten so far? These are just a couple of them.
It's only
Is it time? Is it time? Yes. I can tell my story was really interesting because now
you earned money. You were talking and the money was flowing.
Bring the monies in. Okay. All right, guys. Donald from North Carolina, $20. Hey, Donald. Brendan from Rhode Island, $25. Hey. Greg and Kate from Massachusetts, $15. Oh, thanks for sharing your talents with us all. You're welcome. Louis or Louise, I never know how to say that, in Washington, D.C., $25. Love Cher and the women who play her. Same.
Aww.
Caitlin from Illinois, $25. Kevin from Virginia, $25. Love the Cher Show. Yeah. Bert from Wisconsin, $51. Love Stephanie's story. They love Stephanie. They love your story about finding your Cher voice while whitening your teeth.
I haven't done it in a while.
Same. Who's got time and money?
But the voice is still there. So thank you, by the way. Keep those donations coming.
Yes.
And we're going to keep reading them out loud. So you were talking. So the first time the three of you played the role together was
in Chicago.
Rehearsals, yeah. As soon as
Rehearsals and then off to Chicago.
Yeah.
So does this look familiar?
Oh,
Aww.
That picture totally represents us. I'm an idiot. Steph is poised, and Micaela is young and figuring out what's going on in life.
Yeah.
so perfect. Remember when we could gather, guys, in a rehearsal studio? Remember that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. So we were talking just for 2 seconds when you say playing Liza. I think maybe people, especially the youngers, are like, what? Just talk for 2 seconds about what that means, playing Liza, because the people that don't know that story.
Back in 2003, there was a musical starring Hugh Jackman called The Boy from Oz. It was the story of Peter Allen, Liza Minnelli. His life was intertwined with Judy Garland and her daughter, Liza Minnelli. And Liza actually married Peter, and they maintained this beautiful friendship almost up until his death. Peter Allen. Oh, spoiler alert! Peter Allen's death. And it was while I was in the original company of Wicked. We were about to go out of town. I was very much in the headspace of I just want to sing for every casting director and get myself out there. So on lunch breaks from rehearsing Wicked, I would go, I sang. That was a Monday. Tuesday during my lunch break, I did a dance. The next Monday, they said, would you do a 2-hour work session with Hugh? I did that. And a half hour later, the phone rang and that happened. So it was a bit of a whirlwind. I got on a plane to go to San Francisco, but I cried, Mick. I felt very differently. I got chosen. And then when it sunk in that I actually had to do the job and I wasn't quite sure how to approach it or if I could win. And this was before social media, right? There were no online chat rooms or social media at all. And the fear sunk in and I wept the entire way to the West Coast, not quite knowing how to broach playing this iconic woman. Rehearsals were great. Previews were heinous. Previews were changes like mad, everything from my entire look. And it really was Hugh. I didn't trust my instincts enough to use my voice. And that is one thing that I actually admire with Teal and Micaela. Even Mick at a very young age would use her voice and say, this doesn't feel right. Or do you think we could possibly? I was 29 and I didn't have that voice in a rehearsal room. I just let the director do whatever. So by the end of the previews, I had lost, I think, what instinctively I wanted to do with Liza and how I wanted to portray her. And Hugh Jackman had to come to my aid and say, stop messing with it. We had it and we've lost it. We've just lost it. So it took us a couple weeks to get back. And then it felt safe and playful and wonderful. But for a Broadway debut, that was really challenging and a complicated time because I didn't believe in myself enough to put on the coat of another, living, breathing actress. And I have found like people will always ask me, what's the lesson or the class that you want to keep forever that you feel has changed your life? Therapy. Therapy is what makes us the better actors, because I think once we learn who we truly are, then we can invite another sort of characterization or life form and then we were able to comfortably put on that suit and walk and tell the story. And I wasn't there yet at that age.
I will interject and say that the dance she is referring to in Boy from Oz, is her. She just dances her booty off, and it's so good. And it was like a page in my Bible in high school. I would like click that 9-minute YouTube bootleg and sit there like, oh my god,
oh, that's so cool.
And in the end,
Sister Cher. So
Stephanie, but in Chicago, you were in the Hugh Jackman role of being the lead out of town of the show. So how was it different?
I will tell you, Chicago was a different beast in the sense that how much did we change, you guys? 80%, 70-some% before we hit Broadway. So Yes, I was the first one that maybe took the step out of the wardrobe. And those of you who saw Chicago understand that the play started in a dressing room and these wardrobes of mirrors walked out and every single woman in the ensemble was dressed as Cher. And it took a hot minute for the audience to really engage and handpick who the storytellers were going to be. And I will say that Chicago was this beautiful shared, there's no way around it, right? Beautiful shared experience with the three of us. And then little by little, it took a different shape. But I'll tell you, the storytelling from what you saw in Chicago to what happened in New York was completely different. There was no like popping up in the turn back time outfit. There was still much more of, how do we say this right? Much more of a freedom to still infuse a little bit more of ourselves, right? To tell the story of Cher. When we got to Broadway, there was a certain understanding that the audience really, really wanted more of what made Cher Cher and how we could embody her, voice her, and gesticulate her as much as possible. They needed that to just anchor the storytelling and then come on board for the next 2.5 hours. So what you saw was quite different.
And were those chain
donations?
Wow, more donations.
We have 2 more donations.
I love it. Yes, the Cher Show.
Because you're coming so quickly. So hold on. So Micaela, I just sent you some.
I love it.
I think I promised they would be read in Cher's voice. So
I gave you a little. I gave you a little. So
you give me a
very little.
Okay, I'll give you a little too. Oh God,
It's been a year, you guys. It's been a year.
That's a long time, Seth. I've worked to not do this anymore.
All for the Actors Fund.
Okay, I need like a warm up. Oh God. Lisa from Queens, $25. Elizabeth from North Carolina, $51. Thanks, ladies. I was lucky enough to see the show when I came home for Christmas. Ellie from New York, $20. Thank you for all you are doing. Hillary from New York, $100. Thank you, stars in the house. Katie from New Hampshire, $25. Loving the 3 shares. Jackie and Vive from New York, $25. Keith, Tanner, and Dana from New Jersey, $50. Happy to make a donation, and thank you so much for bringing this wonderful group of talented actors together. We are huge fans.
Oh my gosh!
You still got it.
Oh, somewhere in there. I don't know.
Should we have someone sing and then bring on Dr. LaPook?
Yes, although we had one vital question. Where
Oh.
was it? Oh, here it is.
Oh.
Very important question. Question for all 3. Did you have any downtime in the show to pee?
I did, and it was the first time I got to pee was right after my kind of section was finished, and I passed the baton. And I always went into Steph's room because I was on that side of the stage, and I would like go into her little dressing room, pee, and then come right back out. But that was my time, and I was like, I'm Stephanie J. Block for 3 seconds of my life.
Stephanie definitely had the closest restroom, and
yeah,
I think we
It came in
did it at
handy.
one point.
Yeah.
My pee break was intermission, and then Act 2. I think like somewhere in Act 2, I had like a minute to use the bathroom, as long as it was Steph's.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Stephanie, have you peed yet?
No. My bladder is the size of my light ring. Oh my God. I peed at intermission, and I peed right before Way of Love. Those were my 2 moments. But it's not dribble, dribble, belt, belt, belt. That's just the way it happened.
I have to say, I remember, I feel like it was partway through, when you're putting up the show, you're figuring out when you have time to do anything other than like freak out and get on stage and not fuck it up. Sorry, excuse me, F it up, whatever. I remember there was a moment where we literally, in our backstage choreography, added a Stephanie bathroom break where you had to like go and run down the stairs and then run up, and it was a whole thing because I was like standing in the weird little like change booth. It's just the things that evolve throughout the course of a show, and like it gets built in and then becomes like a thing. Then we like say hi, and you notice the same people, and you're like saying hey to the same people and do little bits. But I remember when that was added in, it was it was definitely like a clear
because the stories could be told. They could be like, oh, did you hear that when Stephanie was doing Cher, they had to have a stage manager. I'm just projecting what could possibly be said. They had to have a stage manager at the bathroom door, and everybody had to clear because she had to run downstairs. But there were 2 times where there were 2 bathrooms right down at the lip of the stair, and they were both being used. And I was like, I've got another 45 minutes and correctamundo. And there was many times where I was like, I am going to pee myself. So they did have to send a stage manager down there moments before and just be like, clear, and not allow anybody to go pee or poo until I was back on stage singing.
I will say also the other thing about pee is it's a sacrifice sometimes too. Like if you're tired and you're giving all your energy on stage and you have to make a hard decision of like, do I want to run all the way downstairs and then all the way back up the flight? Right. Or do I want to just hold it? Like maybe holding my bladder will take up less energy.
Yep.
Sacrifices, you know?
I thought Bob Mackie had diapers sewn into the.
No extra material. No extra material.
That's true.
Well, never mind.
Moves the line. Stephanie J. Block, I just sent the third set of donations. We're getting so many.
Are we ready?
A compliment for all three of you. From David. I have been a Cher impersonator for over 25 years, and these three ladies blew me away.
Yay, David!
Thank you.
We were nervous. We knew the legion of her fans and those that impersonate her were going to be some of our toughest critics to, get on board and get engaged. And luckily, they did right away. We were very lucky. Yeah.
Well, you guys are also amazing. So Stephanie J. Block, if anyone had just started watching, all donations are being doubled tonight for the Actors Fund. And Stephanie, Bobby, just give us a second or two. So who told you to go to the Actors Fund when you couldn't pay your rent? How did you even know about it?
There was a gentleman by the name of Michael Kosteroff. So I had done an industrial in Singapore, and there was a middle sort of entertainment company. So the big company would pay them. They in turn would pay our agents. Somehow that check got stuck with the interim or middle company, and it was 3 months, and we hadn't seen that paycheck. And, back in the day, if you were making $6,500, that was a huge thing, and that was going to pay my rent for like months on end. And I was waiting, and it just wasn't coming. And I thought, I'm going to have to either sleep on a friend's couch or move back in with my parents. And he said, no, you don't. No, you don't. This is legit. There was paperwork to sign out. There was, things to do, but they came in, saved my buns, paid my rent and a couple of other utility bills and stuff for 2 months. And then when the time came, and they do ask, when the time comes and you see yourself in a different financial position, if you can pay us back or pay it forward, that'd be great. So I was able to do that, but I will speak to, it's there, and it's a resource that, we could have never seen a global pandemic, right? But it is there for us. And I really encourage anybody that's really hurting, especially now that $600 ain't coming anymore. That's what it's there for. And we'll continue to work hard to keep raising money for them.
Oh, so well said. Anybody in the business, no matter what you do, behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, can go to the Actors Fund for your rent, your health insurance, anything you can ask for money. And we're doubling the money tonight. Stephanie J. Block, let's hear the latest.
Oh my God. Julie from Texas, you've donated $25. I don't know why there's not an emoji on here, honey, but it's okay. Shannon from New Jersey, $25. I enjoyed the Cher Show so much. It was such a party. Zoe from St. Louis, $25. Marissa from Nanuet, 25. Is that a place? Nanuet, $25. Molly from New York, $10. Kate from Fairfield, $51. I'm so interested in this number of $51. Maybe you can speak to that. Thank you for all the Sherapy. You got it, honey. It's cheap at $51. Allison from New Jersey, $20. The Cher Show was such an important show in my life. Saw it 3 times, and I love all 3 of these women. Thank you all so much. Oh my God.
Before we first of all, that invitation was amazing. Second of all, before we bring on Dr. LaPook for our medical break, Micaela, since you are in a recording studio, would you grace us with a song?
So I just moved into a new home with my boyfriend, Nathan, who is going to, thank you. You're the best ever. And he, I was telling Seth earlier, but I am lucky enough to live with a guitarist, a pianist. He can just do everything in the whole world and still love me. So I feel very lucky that he can play for me. And we have been nonstop this quarantine listening to Anais Mitchell. She's like our favorite songwriter ever. And since it's, lots of theater fans out there, we figured we'd do this one.
Okay, we'll go. We're going to go.
Okay. I was alone so long,
that I was lonely out in the cold so long. Didn't even know that I was cold. Turn my collar to the wind. This is how it's always been. All I've ever known is how to hold my own. All I've ever known is how to hold my own. And now I want to hold you too. You take me in your arms and suddenly there's sunlight all around me. Everything bright and warm and shining like it never did before. And for a moment I forget just how dark and cold it gets. All I've ever known is how to hold my own. All I've ever known is how to hold my own. But now I wanna hold you close. I don't wanna ever have to let you go. Now I wanna hold you tight. I don't wanna go back to the lonely life. Say that you'll hold me forever. Say that the wind won't change on us. Say that we'll stay with each other. And it'll always be like this.
Nice.
Thanks.
Wait. Okay. Nathan, the crazy talent level.
Oh my gosh.
The beautiful harmony.
Amazing.
What up with that? Okay, everyone's in a state of shock.
You guys stop.
Yeah, you're amazing.
No, stop. Oh my gosh, Nathan!
How crazy is he?
Those two are the dreamiest. Are they not the dreamiest? Can we just have them be like the future of all our little folk love duos?
And we have really important advice for people out there. Get someone who looks at you like Nathan looks at Micaela.
I will say I learned a lot about, everybody always is like, what did you learn the most in the Cher Show? And like, if I take away like some of the acting stuff, so much of what I learned, and I say this every time, is like watching Steph and Seth navigate their like lives together through like, I guess 2 years, I guess like 2.5, on and off, was like, it taught me a lot about how I want to be treated and what I want my love to look like. And,
oh my gosh.
you know, I do feel very lucky I have Nate.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Hey, that's really sweet. B. Micaela, back to work. We sent you more donations to read.
God, and then we'll get to Dr.
We're
LaPook
getting
and
so
everyone can get a
many.
pee break.
Did I earn it to say it in my own voice?
Yeah, well, maybe you can riff a little bit. How about that? Because
Okay,
your riffing was amazing.
From Florida. I just spent so much time in Florida. I'm a really good tennis player now, you guys. Okay. $100 to the lovely ladies of the Cher Show. You were all so brilliant. Sandy from Seattle, $25. Thank you for the Cher's Show. Cool. Christina, $25. I went to see the Cher Show twice in 2 days. We had a lot of repeats, and that meant a lot to us. It was like we're doing something right for those people who love it, you know? Mark from Massachusetts, $51. Thank you all for lifting us all up. Debbie from Texas, $25. I loved the Cher Show. Marsha from New Jersey, $51. Kate from Connecticut, $51. Thanks for the Sherapy. You helped me. #believe. And is the 51 a tax thing, you guys?
I think it helps like cover credit card fees and that sort of thing. I think that's what the
Love it. 51.
I just sent another.
Oh my
We're getting a lot of
gosh.
donations because we were doubling donations tonight because
Yes.
Concord Theatricals are doubling our donations. So Teal Wicks, I just sent you some donations. I think it was you that I sent to, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
Oh wait, hold on.
Oh.
Paste.
With a new ring light.
There it is.
Oh,
I know, light. Oh yes. It's still not even. It's super Jimmy rigged. I was in the dark.
I think these are for. I think this is for you, isn't it? Yes. Wait.
I got some.
Oh yeah. Okay. Good.
great.
Hit it.
Okay. Ava from Georgia, $103. Thank you. Love, share. Gigi from Brooklyn, $25. Josh from Kansas, $25. Okay, since I'm not going to do my share voice anymore, I'll be like, Katie from Illinois, $25. Love y'all three so much. Love you, Katie. Christy, $51. Love the shares. Julia from New Hampshire, $25. I'm just going to go in and out of all of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hannah from Illinois, $10. Yeah, girl. I saw the Cher Show in Chicago. I have never been more empowered by a show the way I was empowered by that show.
Great. Yes.
Okay, I'm so obsessed with the belting. Listen to you three ladies together, how amazing you guys are.
So early in the morning.
Hives.
So early in the morning.
I have hives. While just watching that. The cold, it was just horrible. Oh my God. That was just bringing up a lot for me.
Those arrangements.
As I try to do my Kamala Harris hair, I don't know if anybody noticed, but I did my hair like Kamala on purpose. What do we think?
It's really great.
How's that time on her hand?
Beautiful.
I vote for you. Micaela, so what up with the Botmonts? How did that happen?
That's really funny. So I guess like maybe 2 days before we left for Chicago, we were really having trouble with the pick-me-up spot in Act 2, as I call it. And, we had a game show at one point, which got like dicey and sexy, and it was really fun, but kind of falling flat sometimes. And we tried a bunch of things in this spot. And then all of a sudden, I guess Rick the writer had this idea to do kind of like a dream sequence, name on everybody's lips-esque choreography moment to talk about her entire film career, to get it kind of to move the plot along while also talking about all of her movies. And so he wrote this thing, The Beat Goes On, which did not end in winning the Oscar in Chicago. Mm-hmm. That ended up being an ending that was, made for Broadway, which I think was a perfect ending. Mm-hmm. And a beautiful little moment between Steph and I every night. Mm-hmm. But the Batmas were essentially Chris Gattelli coming up to me, the choreographer, in rehearsals, right before we left for Chicago. We needed to finish the show. And he was like, I need you to tell me your pros and cons as a dancer. Oh. And I was like, I can kick. And I love Fosse. And he was like, okay. And choreographed this number in 2 days. And we did it kind of together in a room, and it was amazing. And, he played to all of my strengths. And so I got a few Batmas.
Mm-hmm. Okay. If people haven't seen it, it's literally a full 180. And by the way, it's such a long leg that it actually you're almost behind the beat because you have to get it so high up. It's just, okay. Everybody watches. I'm obsessed with it.
I mean,
I just sweat so much watching that. You're really doing things to me, guys.
Come on, guys, donate. You see that?
Right. Look at that count.
Yes.
$10 for every kick, guys.
Dear Wicks, speaking of extending things, so I was watching some of your Wicked clips. You literally extend the E, like the hard note in Wizard and I that we all want to get off of. By the way, never played the role. I'm not a woman. But if I did, half of Oz's favorite team. But literally you hold it and extend it. What up with that?
I have no idea because this Teal would not do that. I don't know. I didn't know what I was doing back in those days.
Really? Because it sounds like you do.
Came out and did whatever worked.
But you were able to do it.
I wish I had an explanation. I don't. I was young and dumb and Just let it fly.
One thing you need to know about Teal is she always under-talks herself. She's self-deprecating. The woman needs like a PR person right by her at every moment going, no, speak of the truth. You own that. Girl.
Well, yeah, I own it because I honestly, my friend sent me recently like a TikTok that they found of me doing Wizard and I was like, oh my God, I used to sing like that? That's wow. Yeah, I did that? Just I wish I could say that I had like back in the days I had skill, I had raw talent, some technique, but I have way more technique now than I did then. So there were a lot of things that just happened sort of accidentally back then that either worked or didn't.
Good and bad.
Yeah. And then now I could probably have a good reason why I did that, but back then I don't know. It just because I hate the E's. No.
Really?
Like, what?
Okay, listen to this. It's stunning.
Oh, no.
When people see me, they will scream. For half the boss's favorite team.
Wait, one more time. One more time, because I'm obsessed. Listen how long that E is held.
Held in such high esteem. When people see me, they will scream. For half the boss's favorite team.
I don't know. It's a 10.
No, that was a pure vowel.
Pure.
Pure.
When Seth says something like this, you should remember it and really take it to heart. This is so cool.
Thank you, Seth.
I'm breaking down our performances right now.
That's hilarious.
I just have no idea how to ever do that now. So that's why I'm just like, wow. It's fine. It's good.
It's perfect.
You're the same person, and this is you're back in the day.
I know it's like 25 years
I
ago.
mean, you're acting like you're Elaine Stritch at the end of her years, looking back at a kinescope from 1921. It's hard. Stephanie J. Block. Let's talk about you for a second.
Oh boy.
First of all, like I said, we're doing this concert on Sunday, and I was going through all this old material. I forgot how amazing you were in Anything Goes. I don't know if people realize, like, you're a full-out dancer too. Why, like, have you never, like, originated a show as a dancer? I guess Liza. But, like, why not?
Never forget that.
What show?
I don't know. I don't consider that's not my meat and potatoes. I think I started such a long career in regional theater that you have to have all those skills just to work, right? You've got to be able to play the Nellie Forbush or the Sarah Brown ingenue role, and you've got to be able to tap, and you kind of have to dabble in all of it just to stir all those pots and pay your rent. But when I came to New York, I don't know. I got kind of pegged as the sort of park and bark, and the dancing never really came into play. But Kathleen Marshall did, she took me to a rehearsal room and said, let's just see what you've got. Let's play a little bit. And most of all of the original choreography I could do, not all of it. I couldn't Batma like beautiful Micaela. And there were a couple of, I don't know. I don't even know the language of the triple time cow sow that I couldn't do. So we, again, she edited things to my strength. And the dance captain there, Jennifer Savelli, was really wonderful. And she said, look, trust me, I will never make you look bad. And I have found that if you just release and say, okay, I trust you, especially when you're being put into a show that already exists and it's a well-oiled machine. And that cast was really lovely. And the sailors were just so supportive and lifted me up. And I felt really, really lucky that in just 23 hours rehearsal time, that happened.
Was it crazy to do the big finale of Act 1 and dance 25 minutes and then have to end belting a D? Weren't you like,
no, for some reason that was like my Hail Mary. I was like, hey everybody, I got about 75% of those tap dances right, but you know what I can do? I can slide up and just nail it with a D. So no matter how like chickadee chick, I would plant and then make that happen to forget that these are not the Jedis you're looking for. You know what I mean? Like, forget about what just happened and focus on this.
I was wondering, because I actually thought, I was like, thinking like, that's amazing placement. So that is, you really were going for phenomenal placement, because I was like, she's vibratoing. Like, it was so well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, listen to this, people.
Oh, hell.
Oh, yeah.
Brilliant.
Oh, again, I feel like Teal. Oh, the good old days.
5 minutes ago.
Micaela, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So you were about to start school. So if you hadn't been in the Cher Show, you were about to start college, right, as a freshman?
Mm-hmm.
So did you go back to school, or did you decide, like, you know what, I've been on Broadway, I know what I'm doing, peace out to school?
I guess this is the time to do this, but today, actually, I got my seat approved, and I'm actually going to culinary school next month.
Oh my gosh!
Wait a minute. What are you making me?
I know. I'm so excited. I want to have like all the dinner parties. I have like just a trillion ideas of how food and our industry can align. And I love food so much. And I want structure in school in my life. Like, I loved school. So I figured, why not give it a shot? So I'm going to culinary school next month for 9 months.
I'm loving this, but is this because you're like, you know what? I can train Lily on the job in my actual field, so let me train in another field?
Kind of. I mean, I do think I learned a lot on the job, for sure. I had to, but I do definitely, especially living with somebody who went to Carnegie Mellon, ironically, that I do think training is really necessary at points. Like, you know, he'll give me like one note on a self-tape, and I'm like, why didn't I think of that? And it's like, well, you know what I mean? Like, I just feel stupid sometimes, which is fine. Like, I can just keep learning from him and people around me. Like, thank God my first show was with like 2 leading ladies who like carried me to bows every night. But I do think, like, I don't know. I just, there is a part of me that's like, I would love, because I know you can become a cook without culinary school. Like, you can go work at a restaurant and learn on the job there. But I was like, this is a perfect opportunity for me to like go to school for something that makes me feel like I have a really significant knowledge of it and history of it and all of those things. And then, you know, maybe one day in 10 years from now, we can have like a cafe where people come and do stand-up or test music or test whatever they want to do. And it can also be a food celebration and all the things. I'm just very passionate about it. So
what a big announcement.
Wow.
Teal.
Expecting that answer.
Yeah, Teal, what's your big
it.
announcement? Why does everyone have to have a big announcement? Okay.
I got nothing. I wear headbands to hide my bad roots. So I'll start a headband scarf consulting company.
It's real cute.
It looks fantastic.
Hey, Seth, should this be a song break?
Oh my God, I'd love it.
But before that, don't forget donations, everyone. Donate at starsinthehouse.com. We have that matching, you know, and text Fund 2020 to 56512. You can also do that. Forward your donation receipt to donations at starsinthehouse.com.
Yeah, and they're being doubled.
Doubled.
All right, so Teal, what do you got up your sleeve?
Okay. I figured I might as well I'm going to do a little Sonny and Cher song. But it's going to be just Cher solo. We did this song in the show in the staged version. It was very, very condensed. It was the song that opened Act 2. Jared Spector, who played our Sonny, and I sang. And there was a time for a brief moment where it was a whole song, and then it was cut down to like half a song. But when we recorded the album, we got to record it as a full song. And I just love the song. It's such like a classic Sonny and Cher tune. It was like one of their biggest hits in the 70s. I think it's the only other song other than I Got You Babe that was nominated for a Grammy. So,
by the way, on a side note, people keep asking, where do I donate? Where do I send the receipt? What's the text number? It's all scrolling on the bottom. So if you just
I think
take 2
people
seconds.
that watch it on their phone, they can't see it. So I think that's what it is.
Should I
So
put it in the comments?
So sure,
here,
put it up.
Text Fund 2020
to 56512.
56512.
There you go.
And forward receipt to donations.
It's gonna be a lot of misspelled, but we
Sorry,
got.
I'm trying. Donations.
You're doing it, multitasking.
Stars
at starsinthehouse.com.
That's all right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just put it up even with the misspelling.
There we go.
Get it,
Okay.
friends.
So everybody, get ready for some Teal, sort of the Cher Show, your own sassafras version. We're gonna leave you. We'll be back in a moment.
Right.
Peace out.
Right. I don't know how to fabulous musical setup like Micaela. I am old school.
Solo.
Right. Hold on. Sorry, it's happening. It's happening. I promise it's happening. Sometimes when I'm down and all alone, just like a child without a home, the love you give me keeps me hanging on, my honey. All I ever need is you. Without our love, I never found a way through ups and downs of every single day. I won't sleep at night until you say, oh, honey, all I ever need is you. Winners come and winners go, and we watch the melting snow. But sure is summer, fall, or spring, all the things you do give me a reason to build my world around you. You're my first love, you're my last, you're my future, and you're my past, and loving you is all I ask, oh honey. All I ever need, all I ever need, all I ever need is you, babe.
Woo! Okay. Fully arranged.
Fully arranged.
God.
With a little sunny moment.
Well, Sonny, know about it.
I just want to again say how amazing you guys sound together. I have this other clip. The arrangement. Daryl Waters did the arrangements.
Yes. Yes.
God, they're so good. Well, first of all, before I show the Stephanie J blog, I just sent you a couple more.
Oh.
We have a ton more, turns out, but I just sent you 4.
And you want them read now?
Yes, please.
Okay. Tony from Connecticut, $5. Zoe from Chesterfield, $25. Christy and Patrick, $100. Hi, you guys. Josh from Orlando, $25. Thank you for bringing our star to the stage. Hashtag Cher Crew.
I do like the hashtag. Anyway, here's the few of you guys sounding amazing. I'm obsessed with the Daryl Waters arrangements and the high placement.
Where did you find these clips?
I have my sources. Now cut.
We have not
your
spots.
Isn't that exciting though? Is it? Don't you love listening to yourselves and going like, "We sound amazing"?
No, I don't know many singers that do actually say that, right? I think the first instinct is to critique but do I say that was an awesome time and how lucky we were and gosh, do I miss it a whole lot? Yeah.
Question for all 3 from Jason. What project are you working on next? P.S. Can't wait for your concert on Seth and Steph. Oh, yay. Sunday night. Me and Stephanie. Yes, that is true. But yeah, what are you working on next, Teal? Wicks.
Honestly, I don't know. I was earlier this year, I was down in February, I went down to Signature Theater down in Virginia. And I was working on a new kind of revamped version of this Frank Wildhorn show called Camille Claudel.
Yeah, I remember that show.
Yeah. And so they rewrote the script and the music is really wonderful. And Camille's story is, anyways, she's heartbreaking and fascinating. And so it's a musical. And I was playing Camille. And we were about to go into tech when COVID really started going crazy in the US, and we like pushed everything back a week, and then it was shut down, and I came back to New York, and it's all been put on a big fat hold. They said maybe just kick off their season next year, but with just everything that's going on in our theater world, I don't know. I really don't know. It would be great because I worked my butt off. It's probably the most demanding role in sing I've done since like Elphaba days. So
wow,
it's scary and fun to try to jump into that. So that's really all I have.
Well, that's big. You have the title role in a new musical. Theater's going to come back. We just have to, wear damn masks and like bring this thing down and keep donating. Okay, Micaela, we know what's next for you, and it's delicious.
That's right.
It's delicious, you guys.
Culinary School, 70J Block. We have a concert Sunday night.
We have a concert Sunday night. Yeah. I keep looking at my glasses and I keep thinking I'm shortening them, but I'm doing like the exact opposite every time I try to fix them.
You want to be Laverne.
Just trying to get this going on. And I'll be real. I'm mama full time. That's happening full time. And, just trying to find little joys amongst the day. We were working towards a project called The Bedwetter for the Atlantic Theater Company.
Sarah Silverman
and Adam Schlesinger. And sadly, COVID took Adam. So I believe the project still is coming to the theater. Again, who knows what that timeline looks like. But for now, it's really mamahood and just keeping our spirits lifted and knowing how blessed and privileged we are, but trying to fight the good fight on, many fronts.
Okay, my final thing is, what's the funniest thing that happened on stage? Whose wig fell off? Whose bra snapped? Bob Mackey, glitter.
On stage.
Funny.
Why can't I remember anything?
Funny thing that happened on stage.
I'm sending you donations too, also.
Surely. I know we broke up. I know that we've broken. Did Jared ever lose a mustache? There's got to be. There were so many facial hair and wigs and things that had to go wrong, right?
There were a few wigs, none of our wigs, but there were a few wigs that happened to be the very blonde wigs that tended to get really.
Oh, they grew. Yes.
One of them, I know Ashley Fitzgerald had like this one little sweet little bleach blonde bob that just like got bigger and bigger. And then,
right. We were so funny, viewers. We were so funny and so many shenanigans happened. Why can't we remember, you guys? Why?
Because they are like, there's this thing of like, you're tired and then something weird happens backstage and it's the funniest thing that ever happened. And it's not really like a thing. It's like the hardest times we laughed were like definitely backstage for sure. But there were a few times where I think like during previews, during I Got You Babe, Jared and I would break a little bit. Like he would look at me a certain way and then I'd like be belting and then laughing through the belt, which is not good for me. Like when I laugh through a belt, like all these different things happen. And so that
was a massively quick costume change for both of you guys. So, right? Being out of and all that.
Oh yeah. But I don't know. They were like always backstage and small and little things that kept us going.
Did someone saying Chicago closing day? Was there a particular thing that happened on closing day?
I don't know if that was funny.
Yeah, that wasn't funny, but
thanks, James.
I'm bringing the whole show down.
Remember the set? There were these walls, and they weighed like tons. And for some reason, the day before we closed, there was this hiccup where the booth was not calling the walls to move. The stage management team was not calling the walls to move, and they just started to move on their own. And these things were beasts. So God forbid if somebody were to get hit, it wouldn't just be a ouch, go see the physical therapist. It would be a big mess. So looking back now, we didn't know it at the time, but stage management got into the theater early on Sunday of our closing day in Chicago. They ran the show in time. It was picking up all the cues just fine. But then I think at like 15 minutes to curtain or something, there was this hubbub, and backstage we could see the crew just bringing chairs onto the stage. And we were like, what's going on? 5 minutes to curtain, the entire company is called downstairs to say, we're going to do like a book reading, a script reading of the show. Well, we'd never done just a script reading of the show. And the show in Chicago was a show within a show within a show. So it wasn't going to translate unless there were costume changes and set changes. And so we decided to do, we were going to call it the CHER Show, since we are all just going to sit in chairs. But we decided to then just do a concert of 5 different tunes, which the audience was very lovely. I gave a little speech. One of our producers gave a speech. I think some people were a little, inconvenienced, to say the least. But the majority of the people were really behind us because they understood by no means was it our fault. And it really, really was a safety hazard. If it was just like, ego and let's try to make it work, because I've done plenty of shows where the sets have gone awry and we just don't use sets for like 3 scenes. That's happened with 9 to 5 and whatnot. There was no option, I don't think, with this particular hiccup that we were going to be safe. Plus, we just had never done a sit and sing of the Cher Show before. Like, I don't know how we were going to make that work, but we tried until we nixed it. So yeah, that was our closing day. We left Chicago without essentially taking a final bow. I feel like though, as a company, we were super unified when we left. There was something like crazy but empowering about that last day where we all just went, okay, well, let's see what happens. Let's sing a few songs and see what happens.
Well, chaos first. And then it was like the magic of like, it was like something has to be done. And then I think it was, everyone just had to come together and do this thing. And it was like also our last day. And, it kind of felt like summer camp being there. It was lovely and fun. And, you're out of town. And then, yeah, it was like right after we finished, everyone came together and it was lovely. But it is crazy how like it is such a dysfunctional family. And then all of a sudden it's like, we're fine. You know what I mean? Like,
well, Chicago was difficult. Stephanie, tell everybody what your daughter said when you left the house you were living in Chicago.
Oh no.
Exactly. We were in the pool and us trying to leave Chicago, things went awry. So we were supposed to be on a plane. That flight for some reason was canceled. So we had to stay one more day. Said, what did she say? She said something like, do we finally get to leave this? It was a word.
HOS. House of...
No.
Yes. No. She said House of Sadness.
Oh, House of Sadness. My mind went to House of Ace. I was like, she doesn't know that word, Seth.
She was like 3.
Yeah. Finally, we get to leave this House of Sadness. And Vivian, that is so within her like vernacular to actually say something of that like weight. But yeah, we finally did. We started afresh. But I remember Chicago crazily but fondly. But sometimes we change our. I'm looking at these other 2 faces to see if they're in agreement, because I know 100% memories a lot. But I really embraced the wackadoodleness of Chicago, and I felt like Chicago really embraced us.
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree. It is one of those things where like I always, after doing the show, question of like, am I remembering this the way it happened, or am I remembering it the way I want it to have happened? Just because like so much of those questions came up when we were discussing Cher, because she's lived so much time in the spotlight. Obviously that happens to a big extent when you're famous. And yeah, I completely agree. Chicago is like, what a fun, exciting time. Like, I do remember, though, crying over, like, the 50-page changes one night. You know what I mean? There were definitely stressful moments, but, man, it was, like, I remember it so, like, what the best time ever.
And I have a quick clarification, because when Vivi does say things like this, Seb writes them down because that's who he is, and I'm sure he'll make a beautiful book, when I'm 95 years old. But it was House of Disappointment. Are we?
Oh. That's even better.
That is even better.
Wow, that is specific. Micaela, I just sent you some donations.
So our last
Micaela.
donations, I'm sure they're going to keep having them come in, but this is going to be the last ones read tonight.
Don't forget, we're being matching. So if you send any tonight, they'll be matched. So keep sending.
So incredible, you guys. Lane from Alabama, $25. Nicole from Florida, $10. Love the shares. Jennifer, $26. Sending love from the Bay Area, probably for Steph. Ashley from New York, $10. Terry from Covington, $103. My very first trip to New York was last spring, and this show was the main reason for going. You ladies rocked. Chloe from New York, $20. Saw the Cher Show 7 times.
Wow.
Holy cow. All right, so ladies, this is going to play on SiriusXM Radio. Any other updates? Tomorrow we have the cast of Newsies.
Right.
Because they're showing Newsies is going to be shown on Playbill in a week. So we have Jeremy Jordan and Ben and Kara and Aisha DeHaas. They're all going to be here. We have the reunion of the leads from Carrie. We have Betty Buckley, Lindsay Haitley on Saturday.
Night.
Stars in the House, just saying.
Right.
And I thought we'd close with this photo of the three of you bowing.
Oh, that was last night in
Oh.
That's the Cher Show.
That was our Cher Show, you guys.
Yeah.
Wow.
The Cher Show. And I guess for the exit music, what should I got to play something?
Oh, well.
Mandy,
I don't know. What do you know by memory, Seth?
I don't know. What do I know?
What's happening?
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, ladies.
This was an amazingly fun, easy ride tonight, and so many donations.
Great. I'm so glad. Thank you very, very much. And thank you, everybody, for sticking with us. We know last night, last minute postponed it. So thanks for showing up tonight.
Yes,
That's right.
Thank you, Concord Theatrical, for donating.
Thank you.
Yes. All right, Seth. So what do you got?
What's this Cher song? Was it Sometimes When I'm Down?
All right.
Yep.
How the hell does it go?
I literally just sang. Honey, all I need is you.
Right.
Without our love, I never find a way.
Right.